From the World Cup to the Olympics to the Super Bowl, the most watched television broadcasts in history are pretty much all sports. But none of them can top number one, the moon landing in 1969, when more than 650 million people around the globe tuned in to watch Neil Armstrong take his first steps on the lunar surface. No goals were scored, but everyone was in awe. But do you know how these historic images made it to our television screens? In the first few minutes of the broadcast, NASA shared the feed from a tracking station based in California, but that image was grainy and unclear. So Houston made the switch to two other stations receiving the Apollo mission signal, both of which are based in Australia. You see, Australia's location on the globe, down under you might say, has often made it well positioned to send and receive important signals from space. In fact, a tracking station in the outback was vital in maintaining communications with the Apollo 13 crew when disaster struck. Houston couldn't have solved the problem if Honeysuckle Creek wasn't there to keep the line open. But it wasn't until 2018 that Australia launched its own space agency, and I'm here to tell you all about it. So my name's Melissa de Zwart, and I'm the Professor in Space Law and Governance, and I work at the University of Adelaide in Australia, and this is Space for Humans. A lot of what you know about astronomy might come from the Greeks, but thousands of years before they looked up into the sky and saw Pegasus, the ancient First Nations people in Australia saw an emu. So what you might know as Orion's belt, the Aboriginal peoples of Australia saw as three brothers travelling in a canoe. So in Australia, we embrace the legacy of our Indigenous people, and we call them our first astronomers. Our perspective on space is greatly informed by how they used the stars to navigate, to track the changing seasons and tides, and to inspire stories of creation. And you can see that in the legacy of the logo of the Australian Space Agency, which combines many of the original Aboriginal constellations into a map of the country. And do you see that bright yellow one on the left? That's the emu, and he isn't just there because he looks cute. Depending on the emu's position in the sky, it might be time to hunt or gather emu eggs for food. Today, the Australian Space Agency carries on the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander values for environmental protection in its focus on sustainability as a guiding value. For Australians, sustainability isn't just an ideal, it's also practical. You've probably heard jokes before about just how many dangerous plants and animals we have in Australia. Sure, we've got adorable koalas, but we've also got spiders the size of teddy bears. We've had to learn to survive on a continent that can be unforgiving. Maybe not as unforgiving as Mars, but it's not bad practice. We believe that caring for the environment around us helps us weather storms, from bushfires to floods. And we're already using Earth observation satellite imagery to track and monitor disasters like wildfires before they get out of hand. The Australian Space Agency is taking that focus on sustainability with us on our first national lunar mission. That's right, Australia is going to the moon, and our lunar Roo-ver is named after the animal that best understands giant leaps, the kangaroo. It's scheduled to launch by the end of this decade as part of NASA's Artemis missions. On the moon, this little Roo-ver will collect samples of lunar regolith. And regolith basically means the topsoil on the moon. It's the dust and rocks on the moon's surface. It's possible that regolith contains both oxygen and the tools to help make rocket fuel, two things that would be essential to supporting sustainable future missions from the moon to Mars and beyond. So as part of my work with the Space Industry Association of Australia and the space industry in Australia, I helped to lobby for the creation of an Australian space agency. I've been so proud and excited to see how it has grown into what it is today, an organisation that both champions sustainability in space exploration and supports the education and skills training that helps Australians lead in sectors like robotics and autonomous systems innovation. In 1967, on the shores of Lake Hart in Woomera, Australia became the fourth country in history to launch its own satellite from its own territory. Today, Canberra is home to one of only 3 giant deep space communications antennas in the world, joining a network of sites in the United States and Spain that keep Earth connected to spacecraft as far away as 13 billion miles. Because to us, it was never about the race. It's about being a valued member of a collaborative space ecosystem that benefits the whole Earth, no matter where your country sits on the map. So from both me and Pura the kangaroo, thank you for watching. And if you'd like to learn more about space programs around the globe and down under, please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell. It's a salt lake, yeah. We call it a lake, but it's not one.